Hello, friends. Did you know that some states in the USA have laws that sound like a joke? For example, in one place, it is forbidden to play dominoes. In another place, you can get a fine if you cut a cactus. Strange ban on singing in the bathing suit? And also, you have to have a parking space for your elephant. Today, we will tell you about the most unusual and funny laws from Alabama, Arizona, and Florida. Here we go. Alabama, law against dominoes and women's shoes. Let's start with Alabama. There is still a law here that prohibits playing dominoes on Sundays. This law originated in Alabama in the 19th century when religious norms played an important role in legislation. At that time, Sunday was considered a day of rest and prayer, and all forms of entertainment, including games, were forbidden. Dominoes, a popular pastime among men, often involved gambling and noise that disturbed the atmosphere of the day's sanctity. Although this law is rarely enforced today, it remains in the legal codes of some cities. It reflects the history of the state and its attitude toward religion in the past. But that's not all. In Alabama, men are not allowed to wear women's shoes. Yes, you heard right. This law was passed to maintain traditional gender roles. The law probably came about as an attempt to regulate people's behavior and appearance according to the conservative standards of Alabama society. Such rules were intended to maintain traditional gender roles and prevent possible inappropriate situations in public places. It is interesting to note that laws regulating dress were not uncommon in the past. For example, some states in the United States had ordinances that prohibited women from wearing pants. These laws show how society tried to control the appearance of its citizens. In modern times, such a law seems absurd and probably does not apply. However, it is still a legal relic that brings a smile and a reminder of how times have changed. Friends, I noticed that a lot of you are watching my videos but haven't subscribed to the channel yet. If you like what you see, don't forget to click subscribe and turn on your bell so you don't miss any new releases. It's just one click for you, but a huge endorsement for me. Together we can share even more fun facts and funny stories. Subscribe now and let's keep learning amazing things together. Arizona, camels and cacti protected. Now we go to Arizona, where it's illegal to let camels roam the streets. This law originated in Arizona during the Wild West, when camels were used for transportation. In the mid-19th century, the U.S. Army created the Camel Corps, an experimental program that used camels to transport supplies in the desert areas of the Southwest. The camels proved to be hardy and efficient, but after the program ended, many of the animals were abandoned. The abandoned camels began to roam the streets of cities, frightening horses and causing chaos. The authorities decided to pass a law prohibiting camels from roaming the streets in order to maintain public order. Today, this law is virtually irrelevant, as camels are no longer used in Arizona. However, it remains on the books as a reminder of the state's unique history. Also, you can't cut cacti in Arizona, especially the famous saguaros, which can live up to 200 years. Arizona is famous for its desert and unique plants such as saguaros, the majestic cacti that are the state's symbol. These plants grow extremely slowly, taking 75 to 100 years to reach full maturity. This makes them especially valuable to the desert ecosystem. In the 20th century, saguaros began to be actively cut down for use in construction, decoration, and other purposes. This threatened their survival, as these plants are extremely slow to regenerate. The law was enacted to protect the cacti from destruction. Under Arizona law, illegally damaging or cutting down cacti, especially saguaros, can result in up to 25 years in prison or a hefty fine, depending on the damage. Even if a cactus was growing on private property, the owner needed a special permit to cut it down or replant it. This law is still actively enforced today, especially in national parks and nature reserves. It is an example of how legislation helps to preserve the country's natural heritage. Florida, swimsuit singing and elephant parking lots. Moving on to Florida. Here it is illegal to sing in a bathing suit. This strange law originated in Florida in the early 20th century, when public morals were much stricter than they are today. Back then, bathing suits were considered too revealing, and singing in them in public could be considered lewd or provocative behavior. This strange law originated in Florida in the early 20th century, when public morals were much stricter than they are today. In those days, bathing suits were considered too revealing, and singing in them in public could be considered lewd or provocative behavior. Today, this law sounds absurd and outdated, as singing on the beach has become part of modern culture, especially during music festivals or walks along the ocean. However, it can still technically be listed in legal acts. An interesting fact is that, in spite of this, musical performances in public places in Florida often require a permit from the authorities to avoid noise complaints. And the funniest thing of all, in Florida, elephants have to pay for parking just like a car. This law was probably enacted at a time when circuses and animal shows were actively touring the United States. Elephants were often used as both attractions and vehicles, which could cause confusion in parking lots where spaces were meant for cars. Elephants left in parking lots would take up spaces meant for cars and cause inconvenience. To deal with this problem, the authorities introduced a rule requiring elephant owners to pay parking fees as if they were a vehicle. This rule was intended to rationalize the use of public parking spaces. Today, circus elephants are rare, and the law is rarely enforced. However, it has remained on the books, making it one of the strangest and funniest examples of legal regulation. Interestingly, this law has similar analogs in other states. In some of them, for example, parking regulations apply to horses or wagons left in a parking lot. What do you think about these laws? Which one surprised you the most? Write in the comments, and in the next installment, we'll share more surprising rules from other states. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss a new video. See you soon.